Welcome to a Second Chance at Life podcast. I'm your host, Arvilla Beckworth, and welcome to another interview. This week, I'm with my girl Jay, and we're going to be talking about taking time to prioritize yourself. Let me bring her on.
Hey, hon.
Hey Jay, how are you today?
Wonderful. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for coming on and sharing your expertise. Being
You're
the body
welcome.
butter barista, I know you're going to give us some gems regarding taking care of ourselves and safe self-care. So if you wouldn't mind, let's jump right into it. Please tell my listeners a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, my name is Jay, and I am the owner of Jay's Body Cafe. I'm also the head skincare chef. I empower women by providing skin food that is nourishing, moisturizing, and it's designed to make them feel absolutely beautiful and ready to conquer the day. Because when your skin feels better, you feel better. Just like when your hair is done, you feel good. You just have a better day. I like to help out when it comes to the skincare portion of self-care.
Now, what inspired you to prioritize your self-care in your life?
Well, I will say, unfortunately, I feel like one day it was like I kind of had, um, I would say, a breakdown. I just got to this point in my life where I don't know, I was just unhappy. I didn't understand what was going on. And then when I realized what was happening, and what was happening was that basically everything that happened in my life, I never stopped to unpack it or process it. I pretty much just took it as life and just kept rolling. I never stopped. I never paused. I just kept going. I never stopped and said, girl, thank God, that this happened, because otherwise this would have happened and it would have been bad. I just never paused. You know what I mean? And so I think by me never pausing and taking that time to really assess the things that were going on in my life, even prior to that breakdown, that's basically what led up to it. And that really kind of put a fire up under me, because I know that there are so many women that have gone through or are going through what I have been through. And I just kind of wanted to tell my story and make it a little bit easier for them to be able to um, practice self-care in a better way, or sooner than I did.
Right.
Um, so yeah, unpacking things and just stuff like that, that's basically what helped me. And so that was the point where I said, okay, yeah, I got to do better for me and for my kids, for my business. If I don't take care of me, like nothing's no good, period. Like everything just
Right.
shuts down. So that was basically that point in my life where I said self-care has to be prioritized, period.
Now, as you said, being a mom, how do you deal with the feeling of guilt or shame when it comes to taking care of yourself?
Oh yeah, I don't struggle with that. I have no guilt. I have no shame, because honestly, like I know that I'm a good mom. Okay.
Mhm.
I know that I go to war for my babies. I know that I try to teach them the best that I can, help them with homework, spiritually, their emotional well-being, just everything, just being a good mom, period. So I feel that I'm a good mom. So honestly, when I take that time to myself, I don't feel any shame about it. Like literally, I have a prayer closet. Well, it's my regular closet, but I have
Mhm.
like a shelf at the bottom of it that has, like my books and Bibles and prayers and stuff in there. And when I go in there and close that door, my kids know, do not knock on this door for nothing. Okay. Like they respect it. They understand, like I have to have my time, because if I don't have the time to take care of me, they're going to suffer too. Like I said, if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't possibly give your babies the best life that they deserve to have. I mean, that's the goal, right? When you're a mom, the goal is to take care of these kids the best that you can, because there's no manual to it. So that's why I keep saying the best that you can. But,
Mhm.
the goal is to, take care of these babies, make sure they have a good life, can excel in life and all that. But you can't do that if you're broken down, you're stressed, you're not healed. You have all these inconsistencies, you have mental breakdowns and stuff like that, because these babies see that, you know what
Oh,
I
they
mean? They
do. Yes,
see it
they do.
and they can feel it too. So, baby, I have no shame or guilt whatsoever when stopping to take care of me, for sure.
And what's amazing about that, as we are moving forward in 2023, I notice more moms are like that. You know, they're saying, you know what, I gotta prioritize myself first in order for me to be a better woman, to be a better mom, to be a better wife. You gotta fill your cup up first before you can help anybody else. Because you know, like I know, you're no good in your business, you're no good in your home or your relationship if you're barely hanging on while
Right.
everybody else is moving with life. So I love that you kind of reiterate that we shouldn't feel guilty. And I hate that society makes us feel if you're a single mom or if you're a mom, you shouldn't be dedicating time to you. You have to put your kids first. But like I
Or
said,
I think I hate when I hear people, sorry to cut you off. I
no,
think it really annoys me when I hear people say stuff like, okay, well, yeah, I plan on having a kid. Oh, well, say goodbye to your life because, basically it's over after you have a child. That is so untrue. You know what I mean? Because that gives people the impression that when you have children, your life is no longer yours. Yes, a part of your life is definitely dedicated to your children. If you're married, a part of your life is dedicated to your husband. If you have a business, it's dedicated to your business. But at the same time, there's still that me component. You know what I mean? That I have to take care of. Again, if I don't, everything is going to crumble. Nobody's happy, period.
and that is the truth. It's just like
Yeah.
once we get to the point where we as a community can accept the fact that we got to take care of us first, because I think a lot of neglect for our kids happen when we neglect ourselves. How can you
Yes,
possibly take care of your kid when you don't even know how to take care of yourself? So
yes,
to be in the right mind frame of it's okay for me to spend an hour out of my day. My child will not be harmed. My child
right.
won't even miss me for that hour. But you know, you know what I'm saying? Make sure that I take out time for myself each and every day, because sometimes self-care is so hard to get in daily, weekly, or even monthly. You almost got to pencil it in. You got to hammer it in. You really got to say, you know what? I got to sit myself down and take care of myself. Because the one thing about the body, if you don't sit down and take care, it will shut it down by itself.
Listen,
I remember your social media proved to me that. You, you know about that.
girl, you are preaching to the choir. Okay. I know all too well about that. And I couldn't even believe that I got myself there. But I mean, I was literally so in grind mode at the time that, and I had those coaches that were like, all grind, no sleep, and blah blah. Nah, baby, I'm going to sleep. Okay, I gotta get some rest because me
Right.
not sleeping and me not, taking that time, getting proper rest, and just, taking that time for myself, girl. Whew, I was in the bed for at least a month trying to get better. Like my energy, it was all bad. It was all bad. So, like you said, if you don't stop to take care of yourself, oh, trust me, your body will make you for sure.
Yeah. That it will. That it will. And even going into my next question, what do you believe are some of the unique challenges that Black women face when it comes to prioritizing their self care?
I would probably say I would probably have to look at what some of my challenges were. And I would probably say that my challenges probably being a single mom, knowing that, you're responsible for this person, you're responsible for this child. So you have to give your everything. But not only are you responsible for this child, you're responsible for this mortgage. You're responsible for the food in the fridge. You're responsible for, every single thing. So the pressure that puts on a woman, it can be mentally and physically daunting, like a lot. So I would probably say that was a huge challenge for me because it's like when you're thinking about, okay, if you get off work at, let's say 5 o'clock, if you're working a 9 to 5, you get off at 5 o'clock, okay, it's time to run and get the kids. By now it's 6 o'clock. You got to get dinner on. By now it's 7 o'clock. And let's see, do Bible study with the children. By now it's 7:30, almost 8. So it's like, it, it seems like a challenge to find time to take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? When you have everything else boggling you down, and when you have to think about having to take care of everything else, you are the last thing that you're thinking about taking care of. You know what I mean? So that's probably the biggest challenge, that you're mentally thinking about taking care of everything else instead of you. So that was probably my biggest challenge, when I literally had to stop and realize, don't worry about these things. And I found the scripture in the Bible, and it says, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will have its own troubles. Focus on today. And my mind is often on tomorrow. It's on the day after. It's on 6 months from now. My mind never stops rolling. It's rolling 24/7. It never shuts up. You know what I'm saying? So when I found that scripture, it brought me a lot of peace to realize, hey, chill out. God is taken care of up here. You just worry about today. And we just worry about today. It took a lot of that pressure off.
I love the fact that your products, not only do they cater to women, but they don't forget about our girls and our teens. What was your reasoning for starting this line?
So honestly, I see a lot of teens that do not take care of themselves physically. Okay. So self-care is not just getting pedicures and taking bubble baths. It's not just hygiene. Self-care is, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, there's a lot of pillars when it comes to self-care. And so when I see some of these teens that aren't taking care of themselves, it makes me wonder, like, where else are they struggling at? You know what I mean? And again, so I was just like, hey, let me just do what I can do, which is create a package for them that shows them, because again, even some of these parents, like you said, don't even know how to take care of themselves. Yeah. So let alone them being able to teach their child how to take care of herself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I would get a lot of parents that would say, gosh, you know what I'm saying? My child is always in my stuff. She's always taking all my stuff. She's always using up all my stuff. And so I said, okay, teens don't really take care of themselves, but they love to stay in their mom's stuff. Okay. I have got children and they stay in my stuff. So I said, let me create a package just for themselves. And that way they can stay out of mom's. The package will still be, affordable, even if the teen wanted to buy it themselves or whatnot. But it's kind of like their introductory kit into self-care. You know what I mean? So I just figure that's a little something that I can do for, teens who need to be introduced to self-care.
And with that being said, I remember when I was a teen, and I love how my mom smelled and the things that she used. But back in the day, when my mom was using, it was like White Diamond. Now I like the smell, but White Diamond wasn't my ear. So I needed to find something that was suitable for me, something that I could call my own. And I smelled your product, so I can see how a young woman or a teen could easily put this in their life and use it every day. Because like you said earlier, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you smell good. All that's like a complete circle. And it kind of builds up that first self-esteem for a young woman. Because there's nothing like being the young girl that got picked on in school because her hair wasn't done, or her clothes didn't look a certain way, or she didn't smell a certain way. So us teaching our young girls early how to take care of hygiene, how to take care of themselves mentally, physically, emotionally. Now we have a new generation of young ladies knowing how to take care of themselves. Because that's the one thing I wish school would have taught us. Even though they taught us sex ed, I wish there was a class where they tell you after your cycle, do this before your cycle. I be going to school, you know what I'm saying? So I wish there was more detail about people talking about just the cleanliness, because that's already an uncomfortable time of the month when that comes. So to know how to take care of yourself and to be confident in that step does build that young lady's self-esteem. So that's why I was talking about, I like the fact that you had created that line, because sometimes we as young girls, we don't know how to ask for what we don't know we need.
And it's embarrassing too, even though, I told my daughter, like, I talked to her about cycles. I was like, hey, I even gave her like this little cycle pack. I said, just in case you started school, for the very first time, here's this, you may need some Advil, here's some pads, here's an extra pair of underwear, things like that. And even though I talked to her about it and we talk about almost everything, she still did not tell me when she first came on. And I kind of felt a way. I was like, why didn't you tell me? You know what I mean? I end up, but anyways, so it's like some kids, they don't want to talk about that. It's embarrassing. They want to know, they want to find out, but sometimes they just, no matter how close you are to that parent, they still just don't, it's not a very comfortable conversation. Like I'm already feeling uncomfortable.
Right.
And this conversation is also uncomfortable. So,
Yes.
unfortunately, some moms, they heck, some moms are even uncomfortable talking about that type of stuff to their children. And that's why some of these young girls, they don't know how to take care of themselves.
Right.
And again, I'm not even just speaking about the cycles, but just speaking about self-care in general. If the mom is not talking to the child about this, they have no idea that this is something that they really should be doing,
Right.
So more so communication is everything. And you just hope that at the end of the day, they're listening, but you got to drill it in as kids.
And that's true. And as well, with, like you said, with you having a relationship with your daughter, as our young women grow up, we have to be able to set the next generation up for success. Because,
Yes.
Maybe our grandma, our great grandma didn't do it for our grandparents or parents. So now it's like, instead of it being the norm, somewhere we got to break that generational curse. We got to be able to start to talk to our young girls about everything, about, you don't have to be the strong Black woman, and you don't have to feel ashamed of being a single mom. You don't have to feel like, you have to put up with any old toxic relationship. Even though the mom is going through it, we should be able to talk to our young girls and let them ask us questions instead of them looking at us and being embarrassed. Like, my mom's going through that again. She with that same broke dude again. You know what I'm saying? So let's start changing the narrative and not have our daughters look at us differently, because let's be honest, society looks at us different as Black women.
Yeah,
but if
absolutely.
we start to talk to our daughters and build them up and start changing our language to each other, now we got a whole other generation that can stand up strong and being the newer woman as she grows up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We definitely have to change things. I remember being a child and wanting to tell my dad things at work, because there was a time where, I was living with, my dad and my stepmom. And, there were times that I wanted to tell my dad certain things and I couldn't. Or if I tried to tell him things, like, he basically told me, you don't have feelings. Like, you're a child, you don't have feelings. And I was like, what?
Right.
So basically it's like so much stuff that we're taught, and we get older, we have to unpack it and unlearn it, because as a child, I don't think he really understood. I didn't even understand at the time really what he was telling me. But as I got older, I equated it as, your feelings are not important. What you have to say is not important. You're not important, because if you tell me that I don't have feelings, you're telling me I'm not an important person. And so I think that in the Black community, if we learn how to keep that line of communication open with our children, I think that we'll raise up a totally different breed of children, a breed of adults at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. Now, understand, we all have those days when we are overwhelmed. Can you share a self-care practice that helps you during times of stress or anxiety?
So my de-stressor is the beach. Okay. I love the beach. I could go to the beach and sit there all day long. Okay. But if I cannot, I would probably say I will turn on, I'll go to YouTube, type in beach sounds, and I'll just lay there and close my eyes on my bed and just listen to the sounds of the waves crashing against the rocks and stuff like that, because that's what's peaceful to me. Okay.
Right.
Now someone else, might find that going to exercise is a de-stressor for them. That's not a de-stressor for me. That's more like a chore for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, mine is basically taking some alone time. It could be taking a bubble bath, turning on my music and just vibing out. Or gosh, back in the day, it even used to be gardening. When I first got my house, before, like literally when my house was first built, there weren't bugs and spiders and stuff all under the ground because the dirt, everything was just new. And
Mhm.
so I would go out there early in the morning, turn my music on, and, garden. And before I even got my house, I remember saying, oh, there's no way I'm digging in dirt. I'm not being a gardener. That's just stupid. I'll get somebody else to do it.
Mhm.
And so my neighbor, she did it. And so I was like, okay, well, teach me how to do this stuff. And so she was teaching me, and I realized it was really therapeutic for me. I mean, it was extremely therapeutic.
Mhm.
And so that was a de-stressor for me. Now, come the next few years after my house was here for a minute and bugs and stuff started, yeah, I stopped. I ain't been gardening in years.
Right, right.
I don't do the creepy crawlies, but if you cool with that, gardening can be a de-stressor for some people, but those are mine.
And it's nice to know that we don't, when we talk about self-care, it's always not monetary. You're not going to the spa, getting your nails, stuff
Yeah.
has to be purchased to have self-care. You can
Yes.
literally do stuff that's in your own home, in your own capacity, and it doesn't require money to do.
Right. So it's the simple stuff. It doesn't have to be, okay, I gotta change my whole life around right now. It's one step at a time. It's one thing. Like you said, it doesn't have to cost money. Heck, I can go in my garage and spend some alone time and just pack orders and listen to music. That might do it for me. You know what I mean? I mean, I promise on different days, different things will do it for me. People
Mhm.
just have to find out what does it for them. You know what I mean? But heck, some days, shoot, it may be a strong day, baby, where I might need a whole bottle of wine, not a
Right.
glass, but a whole bottle of wine. That might be what's gonna do it for me that day. That might be my de-stressor for that day. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Sometimes it's the laughter of my baby girl. You know what I'm saying? Madison is my uh assistant chef, y'all. Okay.
mhm.
So she always has a song in her heart. This girl is always humming something. Okay. And just to hear that, I never tell her, hush, oh my gosh, it gets on my nerves. Even though sometimes I can be sometimes it does. Okay.
Mhm.
But I love the fact that like I said, I'm trying to change the trajectory of things that happened to me in my past. And so I want her to feel, important and special and stuff like that. So when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to, her singing and stuff like that, I don't know, it just brings me like this certain little joy. You know what I mean? So that's like a de-stressor that I didn't even ask for, but it's there. So yeah, her and her laughter and just the funny, goofy things she does. And I look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so me. Like it's
Yeah.
hilarious. So if for some it might be watching a funny movie. But yeah, those are my life's de-stressors.
Now, what are some self-care practices that you would recommend to others who are just beginning to prioritize their own well-being?
So, like I said, if you are just now getting into self-care, um, like we discussed, it's not about money. It's not about pedicures and manis all the time. If that's what de-stresses you and that's what you feel like you need to do, go for it. But for someone else, it might be just going to exercise. For someone else, it might be gardening. So you have to really take the time out to stop and do a self-care assessment. Okay. Look to see where you're lacking at in your life. Okay. Are you lacking anywhere physically? Okay. Well, hey, could I drink more water? Of course. So let me just start with one extra bottle a day. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people who drink nothing but sodas. So, hey, let's just start with one bottle a day instead of doing that big goal of you got to drink 8 cups of water. Start with at least just one bottle of water. You know what I mean? So I would say anyone who is trying to really, really get on that self-care journey, and everyone should really be on that self-care journey. Um, just start small. Just start with something that you love to do. Like I said, start with a self-care assessment. See where you're lacking at, and that's where you'll start to build up. From that lack, basically. So start with the assessment for sure. I actually have a self-care planner, and I didn't expect for it to be this good. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have made it for free. But this self-care planner is actually free and I use it. I've given it to a lot of people. A lot of people have downloaded it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love this book." Like it's some funny pieces in there. There's some things about my life in there. There's some a lot of good tips on what self-care can look like for different people. It's a really, really good planner. And it's something that you have to stop and take the time to do, because that's what self-care is. It's you stopping to take the time to consciously make an effort to better yourself in every way possible, to keep yourself in a peaceful state of mind. So I will also say focus on positivity as much as you possibly can. If you do not focus on positivity, trust me, you will have more of course mental issues, but more physical issues than you know. The things that's going on in your mind, they manifest through your body. I'll tell you a quick story. So I have eczema, right? And so my skin one day just broke out. I mean, just flared up. And it was just literally only in my face. It popped up in my lips. And the next thing you know, just all around my face, it was like these itty bitty bumps. Girl, I looked like an alligator. It was crazy. And I was like, what did I do? I was like, what have I eaten? So, when you have a, breakout, you're wondering, okay, what did I do different? And so I'm like, I haven't changed anything. I haven't eaten anything different. Like, what's going on? And then when it happened again, I started to realize this is my body's signal of stress. So stress triggers my eczema. Okay. And so even though I wasn't mentally stressing, or I didn't think I was stressing, because like I said, I'm the type of person that just takes what life puts on and I roll with it. I rock. I move on. You know what I mean? I don't sit and dwell and pause and stuff like that, which I'm starting to do now, but I didn't realize that I was stressing. And so I guess somewhere subconsciously I was stressing and my body said, "Hey, you're stressing." And that's how it showed me that I was stressing. And so I don't care what kind of creams I use before I realized that that's what was going on. It didn't matter the creams. It didn't matter that I used my own product and it didn't work because I had to focus on what was going on the inside, and that was that stress. So I would definitely say focus on positivity over everything. Most
And
definitely.
you know what? When you said how your body reacted to stress, we don't realize, especially as women, because we will push through something. It may not be like a break on the face, but our body's sore, our stomach is
Yes.
hurting. Something is
Mm-hmm.
telling us signs, hey, something's going on with you. We need for you to check it. But like I
Yeah.
said, sometimes we just keep pushing. We're like, okay, let me just do one more thing. Just
Yep.
let me get to the weekend, and I promise I'll sit myself down. But our body
Right.
gives the signs all the time that it
Yep.
needs self-care, that it's stressed out, that something is not right, and we have to be so in tune with our body that we recognize that.
Yes, yes. Another thing that also helped me was just doing a brain dump in a journal. So I told you my mind is always running
Yeah.
24/7. I mean, it literally never shuts up. And so I think sometimes I'm just always thinking about so much. And, with being a business owner too, I'm always thinking about different ways that I can improve this or enhance my customers' experience or, things like that. And so since my mind is always running, I said, you know what? Let me just dump all this on a piece of paper. I mean, just writing fast, just writing it out. And that way I don't have to think about it for today. I'm not going to forget about it because it's right here on this paper. Okay. Whether it's something stressful, whether it's something that pissed me off, whether it's, something that I need to do, let me just dump it on this paper so that I don't have to think about it anymore today. So that's also something that helped me. I know some people will say journaling. For
Yes.
me, that's not journaling, but that for me, that was more so a brain dump. But I do love journaling as well. So those are definitely things that have helped me in my journey of self-care.
And as you talk about brain dump, I actually got a brain dump note, if you can see it, brain dump, my notebook. And that's what I use it for. Like sometimes at nighttime, when I know I got a lot of stress going on or a lot of ideas, because
Yes.
I'm an overthinker like you. Sometimes before I go to bed, I write out what's bothering me and I close it and I pray on it. And then that way,
Yes.
throughout the night, I'm not still thinking about that thing. And then if I
Yes.
wake up in the morning, sometimes God has answers, sometimes He don't. But I know sometimes when I go to bed, that's not on my mind through the whole time.
Yes.
So I so much agree with you when you talk about do a brain dump and write everything out, because it definitely,
Yes.
one, gets it out of your mind. Two, sometimes I even solve my own problem by just putting it down on paper, because I've
Yes.
written everything out and I'm like, dang, okay, I got it. Bet.
Right, I put it right here.
Yeah, right here. But
Yep.
it's so freeing to be able to release what's in your mind and put it on paper and then not have to worry about it. So yeah, I
Right.
love that.
I mean, because the paper's not judging you. The paper's not telling you that your thoughts are incorrect. You know what I mean? The paper can't do nothing but respect what you wrote and leave it at that. You know what I mean? So just dump it all in there. And like you said, pray over it and let it go. Another thing that has helped me is taking my laptop out of my bed and putting it on this bench next to my bed.
Yes.
I was sleeping with my laptop in my bed, you know, because I'm at the end of the day, I'm, you know, like, okay, well, let me just finish this one last thing. And next thing I know, this laptop is laying in my bed and I'm just laying over, knocked out. I was like, okay, yeah, this is not quality sleep. So
right.
You know, we as business owners, we got to take the laptops out of the bed, take the books out of the bed. And when you say you're going to go to sleep, straight up go to sleep. You know, take everything out of your bed that resembles work or anything like that and just set it to the side. Nothing's going to crumble in those few hours that you sleep and you put your laptop to the side. Nothing's going to crumble. The world is still going to be there. The kids still going to be there. Everything's still going to be there. Okay. So you just got to stop, get some good quality sleep, and get this laptop and books that I read and all this stuff out the bed. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that sleep with their laptop and books in the bed. Okay. So I know I'm not the only one, but that is one thing that's helped take a little bit of stress off, is like, let me get this laptop out of my bed so that I'm not constantly always thinking about work, because we have to have balance with everything. That's another important aspect of self-care. You have to have balance. If you're only focused on the mental, then I definitely say focus on the mental first, because baby, the battlefield is in the mind for sure.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Definitely focus on the mental first. If your mental's not right, then nothing else is going to be right. If your body is physically tired and run down, then your mental's not going to be right. You know what I mean? So it's like everything has to have balance. You have to balance it all. And so when you have that balance, you're able to take care of yourself a lot better. You know, that is one of the key aspects of self-care. Just balance it out and you'll be all right. It's not as hard as we make it. It's definitely not as hard as we make it, but we have to learn to definitely do it. And it's all about consciously doing it. Okay. Our body isn't going to do it itself. Our mind isn't going to do it itself. We have to make the decision to say, hey, look, let me unpack all this childhood hurt. Let me unpack this. Let me heal from this. Let me pray about this. Let me let go of this. Let me work on this. Let me, you know what I mean? So we have to make that effort to actually take care of ourselves, because we're not going to do it willingly, like, oh, okay, yeah, it's going to do it on its own. Life don't work like that.
It does not
at all. Yeah.
And last but not least, please tell my audience where they can connect with you online.
Sure. So I'm Jay's Body Cafe everywhere, on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And my website is www.jaysbodycafe.com. Y'all, I make the most delicious skin treats ever. Okay. And I'm not just saying that because it's my product, but I say it because I stand behind my products. I've always told people, like, I am not a salesman. I hate salespeople. Like, they get on my nerves. They're pushy. They're always trying to give me something. Like, leave me alone. Like, I can't sell stuff, period. But I find myself, when I talk about my products, it's like this feeling that I get, because I know I created this with my own hands. I sat down and wrote down this formula. I tested this formula and I stamped this formula and said, hey, this is approved for your skin, and people love it. So it's one of those many accomplishments that I'm really, really, really happy to talk about. And so, yeah, if you guys go to the website, pick anything, I promise you, you're going to love it. I have like 12 different flavors for your skin. It's going to love something. Trust me. But yeah, I'm at Jay's Body Cafe on everything. And if you go on my Instagram or even on my Facebook, there is a self-care planner. It's for free. Okay. You have no excuse not to download it. It is for free. Go to the link in my bio, click on free self-care planner and grab it today. I promise you're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Well, thank you, Jay. I will make sure that we'll leave all her information in the show notes, also with the link for the free planner. I have it myself, the planner, and I have a couple of her products. And she is not lying. I literally can put something on my hands. I'll walk outside and people are like, what is that smell? I mean, they can smell it on my skin. So she
I
is
love
really telling
that.
the truth. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Product is legit. If you're looking for something new, definitely for a small business owner, definitely go to the website. And Jay, thank you so much for coming on and sharing
Thank
your
you for having
experience
me. I appreciate it.
regarding self-care.
Thank
I
you. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. I really hope that some of this stuff resonates with someone. I really hope that it helps someone because self-care is really it can be a sensitive subject. It can be a heavy subject for some. But if we just kind of unpack it and talk about it and just start to get it done, then we're on the way. We're on the road to recovery. So self-care is definitely something we got to do. So I really hope that it has helped someone. And thank you so much for having me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Well, ladies, as always, I hope you guys have a great week and make sure you guys go ahead and check out Jay. And I will talk to you next week. See you later.